Hello and welcome back to day 8 of our 12-day Yoga for Athletes challenge. For our active yoga session today, we will be working with balancing poses. Balancing poses aren't just great for the body, it's a great way to focus the mind as it's hard to think of anything else when trying to balance. In terms of the body, we'll be working with the stabilizing muscles today. So that's the core, the quads, the glutes, even the ankles. We'll also be doing some neural training as balancing poses require proprioception, which is the brain mapping the body in space. And there's also the vestibular system located in your inner ear, which plays a crucial role in balance. These active sessions are an opportunity to train the mind as well as the body. So for today's practice, I invite you to let go of any expectations and attainment and just be present with the experience. If you fall, don't beat yourself up. Acknowledge that it is part of the practice and of learning. And to help set us up with the right mindset, we will be starting our practice with a visualization meditation. As usual, set yourself up so you have space to move around your mat and have any props to hand you might want to help use to support you in your practice. So I have my blocks and my blankets here. I also advise having a strap to hand just in case today. If you don't have one, it doesn't have to be a special yoga strap. The belt from your bathrobe or anything like that will do. So when you're ready, let's begin. So we'll begin with some settling in. So just come to a comfortable seated position and just take a few intentional breaths. Taking your time to just arrive into your body, relaxing into your breath. And then when it's comfortable for you and you're ready, I invite you to close your eyes. Now imagine yourself as a strong, resilient tree. Picture roots extending deep into the earth from your sitting bones, and those roots are drawing up nourishment as well as giving you stability. Your body is the sturdy trunk reaching up towards the sky. And then visualize the wind around you. The wind represents the challenges, the subtle shifts, and the potential for wobbles and falls that you may encounter in your balancing poses today. When the wind blows, your tree doesn't resist rigidly, it sways. These challenges encourage your tree to deepen its roots, to build a deeper connection to the earth and a stronger base. So every wobble or fall is essentially you building a stronger foundation. And if for a moment you feel yourself sway too far or even lose balance, acknowledge that this is a natural part of the tree's growth and its continuous adaptation. You simply re-establish the base, connect with your roots, and rise again. Your true strength is not in moving, but it's your ability to sway with the forces and to re-anchor. Focus on this feeling of feeling deeply rooted, strong, and completely present in the ongoing effort of finding your equilibrium. Take one more deep breath, embodying this unwavering resilience. And then as you exhale, gently bring your awareness back to your body and the space around you. And when you're ready, slowly open the eyes and we'll start to bring some movement to the body now. So coming onto all fours then, to begin with, coming into a tabletop position. We're just going to take the body around in circles now, just exploring how movement feels in the body. Notice where you feel it. Perhaps you feel it in the wrists, in the knees or the ankles, and then reverse the direction, taking it the other way, just getting into the body. Okay, and then just come back to your tabletop position now. And this is where we're going to start firing up the core. So you're going to take your right leg out behind you and then pulling the belly button towards the spine to engage those abs at the front. We're going to lift that the right leg up into the air. And just make sure your back isn't collapsing like so, because if so, then you're probably not engaging the abs here. So putting a belly button towards the spine so that you engage that core. So that's level 1. If you want to take it up another level, then you can also add the opposite arm out front and maybe just hover it slightly, or you can take it all the way out in front. This is our first balancing pose. Definitely feel it in the core here. And then when you're ready, bringing the hands down, bringing that leg back down to the mat, and then just rocking back and forth, getting into that right calf muscle as well as articulating in the foot. And then we're going to come into a side gate pose. So you're going to take your weight into your left hand. You're going to kick out that left foot out towards the side. It's just going to give you a bit more stability. Ground that right heel to the mat and then take your right arm up to the sky. So coming into a supported side plank here, really. So this is a side gate pose. And just notice what's happening with your hips. See if you can tuck that hip underneath you, and that's going to really then support you in this pose, and you're then really working, getting into those left obliques, so those core muscles on the left side of your body in this case. And then when you're ready, come back onto all fours, on into your tabletop position, then we'll do the other side. So taking your left leg out behind you this time, and again pulling the belly button to the spine to engage those abs, then you can lift that left leg up into the air. So again, notice the back, is it collapsing or you're engaging that core? This is your level 1, and then if you want to take it up another level, then you can take the right hands, start to slide it forward and maybe coming all the way up off the mat, and then we'll hold it here for a round of breath here. So for an inhale and then an exhale, maybe see if we can do another one, another inhale, another exhale. Bring that hand back down to the mat, also the foot, and then rock back and forth, getting into that left calf muscle as well as articulating that left foot. And then coming into our side gate pose on the other side now. So weight into that right hand, right foot kicking out, left heel grounded to the mat, and then left arm up towards the sky. And then when you're ready, come back onto all fours into your tabletop position, and maybe just taking a quick child's pose to reset. And then when you're ready, we're going to tuck the toes under, send the hips up and back towards the back of the room, and coming into our downward dog, upside down V shape. And then taking any movements if you need to get used to this pose, opening up the backs of the legs, getting into the shoulders. And then whenever you're ready, slowly start to walk the feet up towards the hands, coming to the top of your mat, rooting down through the feet. Inhale, we're going to take the arms out and up overhead, and then arms down by your side. Coming into our standing poses now. So inhale, we're going to take the arms out and up, and then exhale, hinging forward, coming into our forward fold. Inhale, into flat back. Exhale, hands down to that step back into a downward dog. Take a moment to arrive. And then when you're ready, shift that weight forward, coming into a plank. Now remember, you've got the option of knees up or down. I'll show you with knees down this time. Going to lower for a count of 4. So when you're ready, Low for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Coming all the way down onto your front. Use your inhale, coming up into your mini back bend, your cobra. Exhale, release yourself back down, and then either push up via tabletop or a push up, and then come into your downward dog. And again, you have the option of walking or stepping to the top of the mat. So taking one foot forward, pick it up if you need to, rock back and forth to give you a little bit of momentum to maybe spring the other foot forward as well. Rooting down through the feet, you're going to inhale the arms out and up overhead, and then arms down by your side. And then we're going to add some more poses in now. Okay, so when you're ready, inhale, we're going to take the arms out and up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, come up into a flat back. Exhale, hands down to the mat and step back into a downward dog. So just like we did in our sun salutation. Okay, this is where we're going to add a little bit more on now. So you've got two options here. You're either going to, staying in your downward dog, you're going to inhale your left leg up into three-legged dog. Exhale, bend that knee to then step it through into a lunge at the front. Okay. Option 2 is to drop down to your knees to come into a tabletop, lifting that left leg behind you and then stepping it through, maybe moving your arm to allow some space, stepping it through into a lunge at the front. Okay, so get there however you get there. Both ways you're going to come into a lunge. Okay, if you've got the back knee on the mat, tuck the back toe under so you can lift that back knee up, ground that back heel so that we can cartwheel the arms up, coming into our warrior 2. Okay, so hold here for a breath. Are you equally distributing the energy between both feet? Both are working, not just the front one. Front knee bent, back leg straight. Okay, we're going to come into a high lunge now. So we're going to sweep that back hand through to the front, and then you're going to release that back heel so that we can turn our hips to face all the way to the front, coming into our high lunge. Now this in itself can be a bit of a balancing challenge for some of us. So you're welcome to choose to stay in this high lunge because we're going to be challenging your balance even more in a minute. Or you're welcome to come into warrior 1, which is where we ground that back heel down, and that just gives us a little bit more stability. But just make sure to adjust the width of your feet to allow yourself to face forward rather than sideways, which would be warrior 2. Okay, so I'll show you in warrior 1 to begin with. So we're going to do some devotional warriors, which is going to test our balance a little bit, but go as far as is comfortable for you. So inhale, we're going to take the arms up overhead, bringing the palms together, and as we exhale, we're going to tip forward however far works for you, depending on your balance, bringing the hands down as you do so. And then we're going to do a couple of those. So inhale, coming upright, arms overhead. Exhale, tipping forward, coming into our devotional warrior. Maybe coming a little bit lower, but only if that is comfortable for you. Inhale, up. Exhale, devotional warrior. One more time. Inhale, up. Exhale, devotional warrior. And then come all the way up. Just bring your hands to prayer in front of the heart to begin with for now. And again, you've got some options here. We're going to come into legged balancing pose now, although you have got some options here. So option 1 is to just tip forward like we did earlier, coming into a diver's pose, and then arms can go out behind you. So this is level 1. This is already a bit of a test of your balance. Level 2 is to start to see if you can shift the weight into that front leg so that you can start to take the weight off the back foot. So maybe this is as far as you come here. Or maybe see if you can start to lift that back leg up. We're coming into warrior 3. And something I forgot to mention is have your blocks to hand at the front, because what you may like to do is to bring the hands down to the block in your warrior 3 to give you that little bit more stability. So hands can either be on the block, they can either be in prayer hands in front of the chest, arms behind, to the side, or most challenging is to have them out front. So choose what works for you, be with every wobble, and then when you're ready, just gently place that foot, leg down, back into warrior 1 or high lunge. And if you fall, that's absolutely fine. If you need to put the foot down and then step it back, that is also absolutely fine. All is acceptable. It's all part of the practice, which is learning to balance, and then also learning to pick ourselves back up again if we do fall. Right, cartwheel the hands down to frame the front foot. We're going to come into a side plank now, so working the obliques, which are the core muscles on the side of the body. So what you're going to do is you're going to bring the legs back into a plank, and then you're going to shift the weight into that left hand so that you're coming onto your side. But there are some options here. So option 1 is to come into the side gate pose like we did earlier in our warm-up. So putting the weight into your left hand, left knee stays down on the mat, kicking the shin out, coming onto your side, onto your left side, so that in your side gate pose. And this is already working the obliques on the left side of the body. Option 2, come back to your plank, it's easier to come from here, is to start out in your plank, and then you're going to shift the weight into that left side, but then you're going to use this right foot as a sort of extra support. So you're not taking all the weight into that left arm and the side of the body. So use this leg to kind of take some of the weight in this side plank, the supported side plank. The other thing to do is maybe notice the alignment between your shoulder and the wrist. The more stacked up it is, then the greater support it gives you. And then the last option is to come to a full side plank and just hold it for a couple of rounds of breath. We've already done quite a bit, so we're going to come back to center, drop the knees down, and then push yourself back into child's pose for a little bit of a rest. One more breath in, one more breath out. And then when you're ready, tuck the toes under and send those hips up and back into a downward dog. Now, if you're feeling a little bit tired, you are more than welcome to stay here in this downward dog, or maybe even go back to your child's pose. Otherwise, we're going to do a little sequence here. I'm going to shift the weight forward, just like we did in our sun salutation. Now we're going to shift the weight forward, coming into our plank. Lower yourself at the count of 4. So 4, 3, 2, 1. You're welcome to have your knees down for that as well. Inhale into cobra, getting a nice stretch in the abs there. Exhale, release yourself back down, and then push yourself up into a downward dog via a tabletop if you need to. Okay, a little fun transition here now because we are working on balancing poses. You are more than welcome to walk or step to the top of the mat, or maybe see if you can hop to the front of the mat. So maybe coming up onto the toes, bending the knees a bit, and see if you can place the weight into the hands so that you can hop forward. Choose whether you want to do it or not, it does not matter, it's just a bit of fun. Okay, rooting down through the feet. Inhale, we're going to take the arms out and up overhead, and then arms down by your side. Okay, take a moment to just check in with the body, notice how it's feeling. When you're ready, arms down by your side, We'll do that again on the other side. Okay, reaching down through the feet. Inhale, taking the arms out and up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, into flat back. Exhale, hands down to the mat. Step back into a downward dog. Okay. Take a moment to pause, and then when you're ready, inhale, taking your right leg up into three-legged dog. Remember, you can always do this in a tabletop position if you prefer. And then bending that knee so you can step it forward into a lunge at the front. Ground that back heel now. Cartwheel the arms out. We're coming into a warrior two on the other side now. Check in with your warrior two. Weight equally distributed between the front and the back. And then we're going to sweep that back arm forward, coming into either warrior one, so that's with your back heel down, or in a high lunge. I'll do a high lunge this time. And then now we're going to come into our devotional warriors. So inhale, taking the arms up. Exhale, drawing them down through prayer, tipping forward into your devotional warrior. Do that a couple of times. Inhale, up. Exhale, devotional warrior. Inhale, up. Be with every wobble. Exhale, devotional warrior. Last time. Inhale, up. Exhale, devotional warrior. Come back upright, hands to your heart center, and then again choose what level you want to go to, what intensity, what level. You can either tip forward into diver's pose here and stay here. This is enough of a balance. Or you can start to shift the weight more into that front foot, so you can start to pick up that back foot, maybe just slightly off the mat, or all the way until your leg is parallel to the floor. Remember, you've got the blocks here to help support you if you like, or if you are feeling confident, or then you're welcome to have your hands by your heart, behind, side, or front. Okay, when you're ready, gently place that foot back down onto the mat. Get there however you need to, either straight from warrior three or stepping back. And then from here, we're going to cartwheel the hands back down onto the mat, coming into our side plank on the other side now. Remember, you've got some options here. So option one, so starting from a plank pose, dropping the knees down, putting the weight into your right hand, kicking that right foot out so that you can come onto your right side into a side gate pose. Option one. Option two, from your plank, is to come onto the outer edge of your right foot and then having your left leg as support here to bear some of the weight, or you can have that left leg stacked on top of the right one in your side plank. Okay, and when you're ready, come back to your plank, drop your knees down and push yourself back into a child's pose. If your head doesn't reach the mat here, that's absolutely fine. If you're feeling in need of some support, then you can grab the block for your forehead if you like. And then you can stay here, or if you're ready, then tucking the toes under, coming up into a downward dog. And then again, you're welcome to stay here, or we're going to do a little bit of a vinyasa here. So shifting the weight forward into a plank, knees up or down, low south for the count of 4, 3, 2, 1. Untuck the toes, inhale into a cobra, getting a nice stretch in the front of the body into those abs. Exhale, release yourself back down, and then push yourself back up into a downward dog. Last downward dog. So notice how this downward dog feels compared to the last. By the way, if you want something more restful, feel free to go to child's pose. And then when you're ready, just release the knees down onto the mat, and then we'll come into our cool down poses now. So grab your strap now. So we're going to come down onto our back now. So coming to lie on your back, feet flat on the mat, knees bent for now, and then just take the strap around the ball of your right foot. We're getting into the back of our right leg here, getting into our hamstrings, and then just gently push with the ball of your right foot into the strap as you then pull that leg closer towards the top of your body, and just take it as far as is comfortable for you. Left leg can stay as it is, or if you're feeling you want a bit more of a stretch, then you can also take that left leg long along the mat, and just notice what happens to that left leg. Your left leg is your anchor and support to the mat. So send your focus and attention to that left leg as much as your right leg. And then breathe. Use your breath to ease into the stretch. We're easing, there's no forcing. Use the breath to release any tension. And then when you're ready, taking that right leg across the body, and then you're going to start feeling it on the outer part of your leg. We're getting into the IT band here. Again, use the breath. Then bring the right leg back to center. You're going to re-bend that left leg. You can remove the strap for now, and then just take your right ankle on top of that left leg, and then you're just going to ease that right knee away from the body, and that might be enough of a stretch for you. We're getting into the outer hips here. If you want to increase the stretch, then you can start to bring that left leg towards you, to bring the right shin towards you more, and you can grab behind the thigh, or maybe you can even grab your calf, your shin, sorry. Hold for a couple of breaths, and then we'll do the other side. So just bring that foot back down to the mat, take the right leg off, and then we'll do the same on the other side. So taking the strap around the ball of the left foot, again gently pushing into that strap as you then bring that left leg closer towards the top of the body, and then right leg can stay bent or even go straight along the mat. And again, notice if that right hip is staying connected to the mat, as that's your anchor and support. And then when you're ready, taking the left leg across the body. It doesn't have to go very far for you to feel that IT band stretch. Bring that left leg back to center. Re-bend that right leg. You can remove the strap, taking the left ankle onto the top of your right thigh, easing that left knee away, and that might be enough for you, or start to bring that left leg towards you, and then you can hold it up behind your thigh or on the shin, holding for a couple of breaths now. And then whenever you're ready, gently release that right foot down to the mat, uncrossing the other leg, and then just taking both legs long on the mat for a moment, just to notice how both sides feel. And then whenever you're ready, we'll come into our final resting pose, our Sivasana. So grab any extra layers or blanket as you need. Come to lie fully flat on your back now. Legs out wide, palms facing the ceiling. And then Taking a moment now to notice if you're still present here on the mat. So take this opportunity now to soak in the effects of your practice. Let go of any doing now. Just allow yourself to just be present before you allow any thoughts to start to return and before your mind wanders off the mat. So you are more than welcome to remain in your Shavasana for a little bit longer. But if you are feeling ready to move on now, then start to invite some movement back into the body. Bringing the fingers and the toes, looking at the wrists and the ankles. Take whatever movements feel good to you now. Maybe rolling to one side to curl up into fetus position. And when you're ready, slowly start to bring yourself up into an upright seated position. And we'll just take a moment to close out our practice. Hands can be placed somewhere on the body or in Anjali Mudra. Maybe bowing the head a moment to seal in the effects of your practice and just spend a moment to notice how you're feeling, both in the mind and the body. Were you able to let go of perfection, of attainment? And then whenever you're ready, you can flutter the eyes open. Thanks for joining me in this active yoga session for day 8 of the Yoga for Athletes challenge. I'd love to connect with you, answer any questions that you may have, or get some feedback on how this is going for you. So please do post any comments, join the Facebook group, or check the links in my bio for more ways to connect with me. You can also join me again on day 9 for our passive yin practice.